In yesterday's session, I have given a brief introduction about Python. So first of all, what we have discussed yesterday, what is Python? Python is a programming language. Second, we have discussed who has introduced Python. Python has introduced by Guido van Rossum in the year 1989 from Netherlands. And what are the prerequisites we require to learn Python means? Nothing, you don't require anything. Why Python is so popular in IT industry? Python is running in multiple areas like all these. That's the reason it became very popular. Why Python is using many areas? Because of below features of Python. Yesterday we started to discuss about Python features. Right guys, and tell me, right, is voice is clear or not? Any issues about voice? Yeah, any, is it clear or not? Yeah. Aarti, how is the voice?
Clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Clear.
Just reshare, sir. Reshare.
What is that?
Reshare the screen.
New share again, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
share, right.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm sharing. I shared again. I shared that to one line, two line marking. It's not a matter actually. Okay. So regarding that marking, you are asking, right? Hello. Yeah. And coming to, if you have some disturbance in the voice is very clear. My side, everything is fine. If you are not getting voice clearly means that is not problem from my end. It is problem from the student end. So maybe you don't have the, right, you don't have the, I think so, you don't have the proper internet. So change the network. Are you clear? Voice is very clear. Are you clear? Due to the your side, if any problem is it, just you go to the proper area where exactly you have the internet facility properly. And yesterday we have discussed about the Python features. Now my question to all the people, and for my every question you respond in chat window. I was enabled your chat also, right? And your chat will not go to anywhere. It will come to only direct faculty only. And when the session is going on, so many people are trying to disturb the session with like doing drawing, all these things. Really, you are not kids. I'm telling you, you are all like graduates, especially you are attending the class. Don't try to do that type of disturbance. We know how to handle all these things because we are not kids in teaching, right? Yeah. Now come back to our discussion. Features of the Python and what are the features we have discussed? Can you repeat in chat window one by one, all of you guys? Number one is easy programming language. Okay. And number two, what is the second point? Python is a case sensitive language. Python is a case sensitive language. And what is the number three? Number three, which we have discussed yesterday, and it will have, Python will not have multiple data types. Number four, Python is a cross-platform programming language. Next, Python is an open source programming language. So these are all the 5 features we have discussed. Right. How many people are not attended yesterday class? Can you raise your hand? Yeah. So in session we have host and co-host. You all the people, any chat if you want to send, you send to host, not co-host. Co-host means my supporting employees. Right. Now come back to our discussion. Yeah. How many are attending today is the first class, right? And don't worry about yesterday class. And I'm sharing my team numbers to you. Anyhow, Aarti, can you share WhatsApp group links now?
Yes,
in chat window? Yeah. I think so. Is it required to share the numbers to them?
Not required, sir. I will share. I will share.
Yeah. My team is sharing the WhatsApp group numbers, group links. You people join who are not joined in WhatsApp groups. And yeah, so the team will share Python installation document as well as yesterday and today session videos also they will share you in the WhatsApp. Madam, is it possible to share yesterday video already shared? Huh?
We have shared, sir. We have shared.
Already shared. And send some new joinees.
Co-host.
Okay.
Yeah, you are co-host, sir.
I am the co-host right now?
Yes, sir.
So I think you can make host, right?
Then you have to start recording. Okay, sir.
Oh, no. Wait. No. Let it be. So I am the co-host and my team is the host. Okay. So Chart you share to co-host, all of you guys. Right. Now come back to our discussion. Let's start today class. And only one point I want to tell you all guys. So majority of the people will have a feel that programming is difficult. But my concern to all the people, total this course will be divided into two parts. I said Python language will be divided into two parts, and part one and part two, two parts. So part one is core Python, which I have explained already about this, 20 sessions. So that will be 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. free sessions. So these sessions are free 20 sessions. You don't require to pay any fees for this. Here you will cover especially basic programming language, programming concepts. Part two is advanced Python. So here you will have the more advanced concepts of the Python. So here it will be 2 months course. It's paid course, paid. And coming to this will be 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. will be starting Monday. Monday advanced Python will start. For this paid course, about the fee and admission details, I'll announce tomorrow. And we take 100 admissions from this batch. And because we require to have a communication. So that is the reason we go for advanced Python with only 100 admissions. About payment, all these things I'll tell you tomorrow. This is about what I want to tell you. So what I'm telling you, if you want to like learn programming, try to learn the complete Python, core and advanced Python. So at the time of especially your campus interviews, so you will have a extraordinary output if you complete Python course from me from here. And most of the people will feel that programming is tough. So whether programming is tough or easy, you will understand within 2 weeks of my classes. Right. Now coming to today, we are going to start the features. Remaining 5 features we are going to complete today. Tomorrow, your Python coding part will be starting. Right. So Python is a procedural. I have a question. Programming languages are two types. One is procedural oriented language. Second one is object oriented programming language. Can you give me the example? Right. Whenever I am asking questions to all the people, respond in chat window. Really, you are a serious student, then only attend the class. If you are coming for time pass, it's waste to attend my classes. Are you clear? My concern to all the people, there are two categories of programming languages. One is called procedural oriented programming language. Anyone give the example for procedural oriented programming language? Procedural oriented programming language example, C language. And coming to second category is called object oriented programming languages. Can you give me the examples of object oriented programming language? First in chat window, Java, C++, C#.NET. Then what about Python? What type of programming language is Python? Is it procedural oriented or object oriented? Come on, respond in chat window. Show your talent, man, whether it is right or wrong, but you have to respond in chat window. That type of interaction is required in the class. Yeah, come on, come back to our discussion. Python is a procedural oriented and procedural oriented as well as object oriented programming language. Procedural oriented and as well as object oriented programming language. Okay, so that is the story. So my concern to all the people here, so many people doesn't have the have a knowledge about what do you mean by procedural oriented, what do you mean by object oriented. Now I'm going to explain about it. Right, just concentrate it. Do you want explanation about what do you mean by procedural oriented and what do you mean by object oriented? Required or not required? Come on, respond in chat window. Not yes, okay. Just give me clear answer. Required. Yes. Yeah, right. Already, if you have good knowledge in academic, I don't require to explain. If you have some confusion, I will explain. It is not compulsory to explain. Based on your request, I can explain. Come on, tell me. Yeah. Now listen, majority of the people are asking to explain. That's why I'm explaining you. Programming languages are two types. Number one is called procedural procedural oriented programming language. Procedural oriented programming language. And number 2 is called object oriented programming language. Object oriented programming language. With this, we can say programming languages are two categories. One is procedural oriented programming language. Another one is object oriented programming language. So what do you mean by? What do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? What do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? And what do you mean by object oriented programming language? Come on, all of you guys, you have to record the notes. You have to record the notes. Whatever notes I'm typing in my notepad, it's a dictation of the notes. You have to. How many are recording the notes? All of you, come and respond. Right. Just write in chat window. I am writing the notes. I am writing the notes. Come on, fast. Right. If you are not writing the notes, whether you are a PhD person or MTech person or you are a manager in company, waste to attend this course. Waste. Time pass. Waste. Better to leave the class. That's it. What do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? Listen. What do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? So let me explain. Any idea what do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? Any idea? Come and respond in chat window. What do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? Come on, whether you know or not. I know, explain. Otherwise, I don't know. That's it. Don't know. What do you know? It seems very poor. Like BTech first year low, you will have a C language. Then this point will be explained by your faculty, I hope. Okay, right. Let me explain. Yeah, what do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? Listen, in procedural, record the notes. In procedural oriented programming language, program is a collection of procedures or functions. Program is a collection of procedures or functions. In procedural oriented programming language, program is a collection of procedures or functions. Right. Okay, now, right. Functions. Now I'm going to give you. That means whenever you write a program in this approach, that is a collection of procedure or function, both are same. Now I'm going to give you structure of procedural oriented programming. Structure of procedural oriented programming. That means whenever you write a program in this approach, how will be the structure? M1, it is a method or function. Here you will have logic. Some logic will be there. Now here another function called M2. Here you will have some logic. Here you have some logic. And here you have a special function called main. Here you will have a special function called main. And here you are calling M1. Here you are calling M2. Here you are calling M1, M2. Here you can see total your program is a collection of three functions. Function or procedure or method is same, which we use to write some logic. M1 is the first method or function. Method name is M1. It is the block. Here you write the functionality, logic. Whenever you have written any function in any programming language, you will have generally this brackets. It's called signature. M2 is another function and main is the special function. What is the role of main method? Whenever you run this program, your program execution starts from main method. So your execution engine will start from main method. So it will execute first this. Once it is encountered, it will feel that program execution is completed. That means the role of the main method is program execution starts by main method and controlling by main method and stop by main method. That means whenever you have a house, that house will have multi doors, but one door is called main door. Here you will have one door, here you will have one door, here you will have, but this is main door. Main door. What is the role of main door? Entry, and whenever postman will come also main door, and the whole total house is controlling by main door. And whenever you are going out also, last you exit from which door? Main door. That's why the door is called main door. Like that, in your programming law, main method is similar like your main door. Means starts from main method, controlling by main method, and stop by main method. That is the role of main method. And how this code is executing, sir? How this code is executing? Can you explain how this code is executing, all of you guys? Are you clear? Hello? Hello. Can you explain how this code is executing? How this code is executing? Right. Now let me explain about this code, how it is executing. Try to understand. Whenever you run this code, your execution engine starts from first main method. Execution engine will start from main method, and it will be here. It is calling M1. Control will call M1. Means control will go to M1 and will execute. Once it is execution is completed, it will come back. Then after this, control will execute M2. That means control will go to M2 method, will execute and come back. Once it is encountered closing brace, that means program execution is completed. So this is a story about how this procedural oriented programming program will execute. I hope you understood what I said. Everybody are clear about this approach? Yeah. Next, to come back to our discussion, a programming language, a programming language, a programming language, which will support, which will follow the above approach is called as procedural. A programming language which will follow the above approach is called as procedural oriented programming language. Procedural oriented programming language. A programming language which will follow the above approach is called as procedural oriented programming language. So, which programming language is following the above approach? Example for which programming language? Example for procedural oriented programming language. Procedural oriented programming language. Example for procedural oriented programming language. Your C language will follow the above approach. That's why C is called procedural oriented programming language. I hope whenever you have seen C language in your academic, might be you have seen the program almost all this model. That's why C is called procedural oriented programming language. Now come back to what happened. So due to the limitations, some limitations or drawbacks, due to the some limitations of above approach, industry experts are introduced object oriented programming language. Industry experts are introduced object oriented programming language. So now we are going to discuss about object oriented programming language. What do you mean by object oriented programming language? A programming language. What do you mean by object oriented programming language? In object oriented, any idea about this? All of you, come and respond in chat window. Any idea about this? Fast. Any idea about this? Fast. Any idea? Respond in chat window. All of you guys. Come on, fast. Respond in chat window. Right. One minute, 1 minute. Aarti, hello?
Yes, sir.
I think it was disabled. One more time. You do it. First you do it. First we have to disable, huh?
You take the shades, sir. Now shade the screen.
Now first I have to share the screen. That's it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Again, you have to go to more. Yeah, more disable annotations.
I think so. My mouse is little slow. That's why it's doing. 1 minute. 1 minute. Wait, wait, wait. Wait. Yeah. Now I have to share the screen.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now it's okay, na?
Yes, sir. Go to more.
Done. I done already.
Yeah, yeah,
This is-
fine.
this
Right,
is-
right, sir. Go on.
Right. What do you mean by object-oriented programming language? Yeah, it seems that some of the students are targeting us to disturb the class.
Competitors, sir. Competitors.
I don't know who is that. It was really wonder what will happen for them. Yeah, we have 970 or 980 students only because of quality. The people are coming like that, right? It's our efforts, right? Yeah. Okay, fine. Now come back to our discussion. I don't know. See how the people will be like this also. I am not wondering about this. Right. Come on. Yeah, whenever we throw a stone towards the sky, it will come and hit our head only sometime, after some time, not immediately. Right. Come back to our discussion. What do you mean by object-oriented programming language? Just respond in chat window, all of you guys. Come on, respond, respond. Yeah, simple. In object-oriented, in object-oriented programming language, in object-oriented programming approach, program is a collection of program is a collection of classes. Program is a collection of classes. So now I am going to show you the structure of object-oriented programming language. I'm going to give you the structure of object-oriented programming language. Structure, programming structure, right? Here you define a class called C1. Again, I have defined a class called C2. Right, try to understand. So here you define your program with two classes. So here, what is class? Class is one of the object-oriented programming concept. Within the class, we can define the functions like M1, M1, right? Here you write the logic. Here you write the logic. Generally, in this approach, we can't write a function without the class. You have to write the class. So here a logic of the M2. Now I defined M1 method and M2 method. And a method, function, and procedure will be the same. We can use this method to define a logic in programming languages. But here in this approach, you define M1 method and M2 method within a container called C1 class. Here class is a keyword, C1 is the name of the class. Try to understand. Now here, this is opening brace to closing brace is a class block and M1 block, M2 block. Right. So this is the story. Now we defined a class called C1 class. Now here we defined another class called C2 class. But within the C2 class, we have written a method called main. We have written a method called main. So here also the role of the main method will be same. Here also the role of the main method will be same. That means program execution starts by main method, program execution controlling by main method, program execution stop by main method. You take any programming language, here in every language you will have main method. But in procedural oriented programming language, the main method is not part of the class. But in object oriented programming language, that main method is part of another one class. Now here I am calling method called M1. Class name dot method name, that is called M1. And here class name, that is called C1. Method name is called M2. So this is the story about object oriented programming language. Sir, how this code will execute exactly? Now I'm going to show you simply. Right. So you try to understand. Whenever you run the program execution starts from main method. That means your execution engine. And you can observe this here, you have two classes, one class and second class. And this is the one, class one, C1. This is a C2 class. Okay, here we have to understand one important point. Whenever you run this program, your execution engine will search for main method, like main, where are you? Then main will say, I'm here, boss. Then it will catch. Then it starts from here. First, it will execute M1 method. It will call M1, like this line will execute C1.M1. Here you have to understand one important. It is M1 definition. Here it is called M1 call. It is M2 definition. This is called M2 call. But this is C2 class definition. This is C1 class definition. Remember, C1.M1 will execute first. Then control will go to C1 class like this. And it will call may M1, where are you? Then M1 will say, I'm here. Then control will come to here, will execute. Once it is encountered the closing brace, then control will understand M1 method execution is completed. Again, control will come back. Then after this, control will execute the second line, that is C1.M2. Then control will go to C1 class and it will call M2, where are you? It will say, I'm here. Then it will execute. Again, it will come back. Once it is encountered the closing brace of the main method, then control will understand the program execution is completed. That is the story about this one. Right? I hope you understood what I said. So whenever a programming language, will follow above approach, which is called as object-oriented programming language, So example for object-oriented programming languages. So the above approach is following by C++, Java, and C#.NET. These are all object-oriented programming languages. But coming to Python, I said about Python. What is Python? Python is called what? Python is a procedural-oriented as well as object-oriented programming language. Python is called not only procedural-oriented, not only object-oriented. Now, did you understand the above two concepts or any confusion? Respond in chat window. I have explained in the above procedural-oriented and object-oriented. But object-oriented knowledge will not be very clear right now, because in future we will have a concept called object-oriented programming concepts in Python. Around 20 sessions we will discuss about this concept. But there is a chance right now you may have bit confusion, because if you don't know anything about this concept previously, there is a chance confused. And let me explain. Shall you want me to explain one more time? Come on, respond in chat window, all of you. Right. Now come back to our discussion. What I am telling you here very clearly. Python is a programming language and it is procedural oriented plus object oriented programming language. To justify that statement, we have to understand these both approaches. That is, programming languages are two types. One is called procedural oriented programming language, and another one is called object oriented programming language. Another one is called object oriented programming language. Object oriented programming language. Let me explain about procedural oriented programming language. What do you mean by procedural oriented programming language? In procedural oriented programming language, program is a collection of procedures or functions. Structure of procedural oriented programming. Here you can observe M1 procedure, M2 procedure, and main procedure. That means here we have three functions, M1, M2, M3. Whenever you write a program in this approach, the program is a collection of functions or procedures or methods, M1, M2, and main. Okay, you can observe this. This is called M1 definition, M2 definition, main definition. These three are functions, but in this, main is a special type of function because programming execution starts by main and controlling by main and stop by main method. Are you clear? Whenever you run this code, how this code will execute, I explained already. Again, I'm explaining to you here. When you run this code, when you run this code, your execution engine will start from main method. First, this line will execute. Here, control will go to M1 function, will execute and come back. After this, control will execute second line. Here, it will go to M2 function and will come back. Once it is encountered closing brace of the main method, then it will understand program execution is completed. A programming language which will follow the above approach is called as procedural oriented programming language. Example for procedural oriented programming language is C language. Due to the limitations of above approach, due to the limitations of above programming approach, industry experts are introduced object-oriented programming languages or object-oriented programming approach. Coming to object-oriented programming approach, what do you mean by object-oriented programming approach? Okay, here you have to understand one important point. This you may not understand in one shot because it's a discussion of 20 sessions. That's the reason. Don't expect that you will get the clarity 100% about object-oriented approach. It is a 20 sessions we discuss about a concept called loops in future in advanced Python. Right. In object-oriented programming approach, program is a collection of classes. Program is a collection of classes. And structure of means whenever you write a program, it will have collection of classes. You can't define a function directly here. So structure of object-oriented programming language. Here you can see. Here I defined a function called class C1. C1 is the name of the class. Class is a keyword. Here you have a function called M1. Here you have a function called M2. M2. And coming to here, I defined another class called C2 class. Within the C2 class, we defined a function called main. Within the main method, we are calling C1.M1, C1.M2. Here also, the role of the main method will be program execution starts by main method, controlling by main method, and stop by main method. Sir, how this code will execute? Now I am explaining to you all guys. Whenever you run this code, your program execution starts by main method. First this line, C1.M1. Control will go to C1 class and will execute M1 and come back. Next line, it will execute C1.M2. Control will go to C1 class, will execute M2, again come back. Once it is encountered closing brace, then it will understand your program execution is completed. Okay, so a programming language, and whenever a programming language will follow above approach is called as object-oriented programming language. Example for object-oriented programming languages, C++, Java, and C#.NET are called object-oriented programming languages. But here we have to understand one important, what is the advantage of object-oriented programming compared with procedural-oriented will be understanding in future. Now, here we have to understand one more important, why we will call Python is a procedural oriented programming as well as object oriented programming language. What is the reason? Right, answer is only one thing. In Python, we can write a program without classes. That means only functions. That's why we can say it supports procedural oriented approach, as well as in Python we can write a program with classes also. So that is the reason you can write a Python program without classes, with classes. When you write a Python program without classes, that concept is called procedural oriented programming concept. Whenever you define a Python program with classes, that is called object oriented programming. So finally, we can say Python is procedural oriented plus object oriented. Python is procedural oriented and as well as object oriented. So now whatever we discussed, it is a big topic today. So it is a biggest topic. That's the reason it has taken approximate 40-45 minutes time only. Are you clear? So it was most important also, because tomorrow, whenever you attend, and here we have to understand one more important, what is class, why class, how to define a class. Now cinema, first scene is going on, but you are asking before interval scene. Before interval scene will come up before interval only, not now. If I will explain also, we can't, you can't understand 100%. So please wait till that concept will come. If you have, see here only one important point, teacher can understand when where student will get confused, but I'm clearing my level best to you. But when there is a concept I didn't explain much, what is class means, we'll cover later when we start OOPS, right? So that is the story. So today we have discussed about this one, right? It is a, what I can say, it's a procedural oriented plus as well as object oriented. Next point, seventh point is Python is a dynamic typed programming language. Dynamic typed programming language. That means while declaring a variable, programmer doesn't require to declare data type. For example, to declare data type, the data type will be deciding dynamically when we initialize the value. Record the note simultaneously. The data type of the variable will be deciding dynamically when we initialize the value. If we initialize numerical value, it will take data type as int. If we initialize floating point value, it will take data type as float. If we initialize numerical value, it will take data type as int. If we initialize floating point value, it will take data type as float. Okay, that we are going to see with the example also. For example, again, I'm telling you, whenever you write a program in any programming language, programmer only will declare the data type. But here, programmer doesn't require to declare the data type. So automatically, it will, Python execution engine will take the data type. Sir, how it will be? Now I am writing two examples in Python code window. I'm opening Python code window. Whenever you install Python in your system, it will be installed here. Icon will be here. I'm clicking this icon. Now it will open Python code window, Python development environment. Now you can see A equal to 10. A equal to 10 means I have declared a variable called A with a value, numerical value called 10. But I don't know what is the type it's taking. By default, type of A. There is a function we have in Python, that is type function, will give the data type of the variable. You can see. Now you have given numerical value. That's why it's stating as what? Integer. Right. Now B equal to 10.5. So that is floating value. Type of B. Type of B. Then it's giving what? Float. So that is the story. That is the story. Are you clear? That is the story. Understood, all of you? Now you can see this. You take this example code. Because of this reason, we can say Python is a dynamic typed programming language. Python is a dynamic typed programming language. Right. This is output. First example one, you take this one, everyone. Next coming to, this is example two. Example 2, B equal to 10.5. B equal to 10.5. Type of B. Then output is, it's saying that it's a floating point data type. Like this. Right. So because of this, we can say Python is called dynamic typed programming language. Right. I hope you understood this point. What do you say? How did you understand? Did you understand? All of you respond in chat window? Right. Right. Are you clear? Now come back to right main method. Where is the main method? We'll discuss. We'll discuss. Wait some time. When you write the code in Python, you will not write main method. Okay, you write methods, but you will not write main method because main method auto-generated method in Python. That will be discussed in future. Wait some time. So somebody are asking, we didn't write main method also, but how you can say it's a procedural oriented? This is not Python main programming environment. Python main programming environment, I'll show you later tomorrow in coding, but you will not write any main method also in Python. Yesterday I explained very clearly. So main method is auto-generated method in Python. You will not see that method. We'll be understanding tomorrow. Now, this is the story. Now we have discussed today 2 points, 6th point and 7th point, and that means 2 features. One is called Python is a procedural oriented plus object oriented programming language. Second point is Python is a dynamic typed programming language. So there are 3 more small points are there. One is what I can say 8 point, 9 point, 10 point. Tomorrow, first 5 minutes, first 5 to 15 minutes will take the 3 points. After 15 minutes, we will enter into coding. Tomorrow we are going to start the programming. And somebody are asking 7th point. Again, I'm explaining you, Babu, very simple point. See, Madhavi is asking. Python is a dynamic typed programming language. That means while declaring a variable, and general when you are declaring a variable in any programming language, will declare int a equal to 10. So that is not dynamic typed, static typed, because programmer only telling the variable a is into. But here programmer doesn't require to declare data type. The data type will be deciding dynamically when we initialize the value based on the value. If we initialize numerical value, it will take data type as into. If we initialize a floating type value, it will take data type as float. So that is a equal to 10, type of A. Okay, so here what it is saying into, because you didn't declare data type internally, it's taking automatically. Here B equal to 10.5, it's a type of B, saying that it's float. So that's why internally it is taking the data type without giving by the programmer. That's why it is called dynamic typed programming language. Right. So tomorrow your coding is going to start. Are you clear? All of you guys understood? Don't miss tomorrow class, and you can share this link to your friends also. And this training will go like core Python 20 sessions, 7 to 8, advanced Python 8 to 9, 2 months, complete Python language. I'll make you masters in Python. But you remember, whenever you go to any class, sir will write the code. But here, I will write only 10 to 20% programs. 70 to 80% coding will be doing by you only. I will make you like that. So finally, what feel you have about programming? But in this training, you will feel that programming is very, very easy. You write your own programs. End of the course, you will say, I love coding. So that will be happen. And who are fearing or scaring about coding, definitely in this part of the course, you will enjoy. Right. Thank you very much. And just give me the feedback about today's session. How did you understand the class? Come on, videos will be shared in your WhatsApp groups. You don't require to worry. Just give me the right. Give me the feedback in chat window, all of you guys. Advanced Python will be started coming Monday. Will be announced tomorrow about all the details about advanced Python tomorrow and end of the class. Right. Come on. Who are missed yesterday class can be get the video in WhatsApp group. You don't require to worry. Try to join WhatsApp groups. Harti, you shared WhatsApp group links? Hello?
Yes, sir. I have already shared.
Share. You people
Yes.
join in WhatsApp groups. Okay? Right. So thank you very much. Like we meet tomorrow. Bye-bye.